Be sure to follow my Twitch over at twitch.tv/daltonix. Thank you. Destiny 2 added crafting into the game about 2 years ago, and overall it has definitely changed the game a lot ever since, making it so you can pick the exact roll you want of these specific weapons. When the system first released, we only had 1 or 2 of each weapon, but now with it being out for as long as it has been, we have a lot of different guns that we are able to craft. So I figured we'd go over 10 of the best guns for PvP in the crafting system and the rolls that you should be putting on them. But without further ado, let's get into the list. Alright, so starting off strong, we're going to be starting with one of the strongest weapons on this list, and that is going to be the Drang. Drang is currently a sidearm that you can get if you farm the Presage exotic mission. Depending on the week, it will be up if you go into the Legends category. And after defeating the final boss, you have a chance that one will drop. Now, this sidearm is fantastic, has some crazy range, and a really fast time to kill with a 0.6 seconds just at base if you hit 4 headshots, which is very crazy, and the rolls that this thing can get are very strong as well. Not only, as I said earlier, does it get a lot of range, in the first column you have things such as Moving Target, Eye of the Storm that are very good, and then in the second column you can get Zen Moment and Rampage if you want a little extra damage. In my honest opinion, the two clear winners here are Moving Target and Zen Moment to make for a very sticky and strong sidearm. With Zen Moment, the stability buffs are always super nice, as well as making it so you flinch way less, which could sometimes be a problem. And then Moving Target getting that extra aim assist, as well as the stray speed on the already crazy stray speed of a sidearm, is just nuts. Honestly, Drang is one of the strongest weapons in the game, in my honest opinion. And when I'm actually a good Drang user, it is very difficult to play the game around it. You have to play the game very differently when somebody who is good with Drang, or any sidearm in general really, is in the game. Skiller Potential is a high rate of fire pulse rifle firing at 540 RPM. You currently get this one if you go to the helm and go over to talk to Riven. You could focus it, and I highly recommend you do that, because once the new DLC drops, all these seasonal guns will be going away, and you'll probably have to farm them through a mission, which takes a very long time, where these ones you can get them pretty quick, and I'm sure you have a lot of Wish engrams in your storage right now, so be sure to go do that before it gets very difficult to get. But this pulse rifle is really strong. The fast firing pulses aren't typically top of the meta, but they feel really good, as well as they have a pretty fast time to kill, being able to take anyone down in 0.8 seconds, or if they're lower resilience, 0.73. And the perk pool does not disappoint as well. In the first column, we have Keep Away, which is super strong, just being able to get free stats for pretty much just already staying away from somebody, which you'd be doing with a pulse rifle anyway. And in the second column, you have Headseeker, which Headseeker just overall helps the consistency of this pulse, as well as giving you some bonus aim assist. One of the best perks in the game for pulse rifles is definitely Headseeker. Now with Headseeker and Keep Away, it makes this thing feel like a consistency monster. You could build into range with your barrels and not really care that much about stability, in my honest opinion, and this thing just still goes crazy. I personally think this is one of my favorite pulses in the game. Obviously, it's not as good as some of, the high impact pulses with the crazy range that they have, as well as the 2-burst potential. This pulse rifle is one of the best rapid fire frames in the game, and can get even better if you build into it with things such as Mask of Bakros. Austringer is next up on the list, and you get this one currently from doing the Presage exotic mission that we've talked about earlier. And honestly, I think Austringer is one of the sleeper picks right now. It is very good, and honestly one of my favorite legendary hand cannons to use in the current game. In the first column, you have things such as Eye of the Storm and Snapshot. I know Snapshot isn't traditionally a perk people use on hand cannons too much, but honestly, I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I used to use Eye of the Storm on this thing, and I switched over to Snapshot, and I just love the feel of Snapshot to help out with a little bit less handling that is on this hand cannon. But for your majority of players, I would really recommend Eye of the Storm. And then the second column, we have things such as Zen Moment and Opening Shot. I honestly think Zen Moment is what makes this hand cannon so good. Being able to make it so you pretty much don't get flinched, if I'm being honest with you, after hitting one bullet is really crazy. And I honestly really recommend going back and giving this hand cannon a try if you haven't already. It is just so good. It just feels so buttery smooth, and I feel like it is one of the best 1v1 primaries in the game, especially if you run Eye of the Storm and Zen Moment. So as long as you're hitting bullets, and if your opponent's hitting bullets as well, you'll be able to get your Eye of the Storm proc, making it so you just get crazy accuracy from that. And then Zen Moment, as long as you're hitting your shots, makes it so you do not flinch, plus the little increase like visual recoil that happens there. Overall, this thing is just super good. I love Austringer so much. And as I said, if you haven't given this thing a try recently, I really highly recommend it. Best feeling hand cannon in the entire game by a mile right now. And if you are enjoying the video, please remember to like and subscribe, as it does help out with the channel a lot. All right, let's get on to the next weapon. Next up is Rufus's Fury. This is an auto rifle that you get from the Root of Nightmares raid, and it is a very strong pick. It fires at 720 rounds per minute. making it so it actually has an optimal time to kill of 0.75 seconds, which is really fast for an auto rifle. Unfortunately, tier 10 will block that and you will require an extra bullet, but most people, other than maybe some Titans, are not typically running tier 10, so for the most part, you'll get a really, really fast time to kill. This thing is almost like a little bit more range SMG, and the perks do not disappoint as well. In the first column, you'll have perpetual motion as well as moving target being my preferred pick there, if I'm being honest. And then the second column, you actually have 3 options that are really, really good. With the first one being target lock. Target lock is actually fantastic on this auto rifle because it actually takes out that tier 10 block that normally comes into play, making it so no matter what the resilience is, you can have a 0.75 optimal TTK if you hit all your headshots, but as well as it lowers the requirements for all headshots down by 1, making it 9 headshots and 1 body shot for anybody who's tier 8 or lower, which is fantastic. Forgiveness is great. But maybe you don't really care that much about that. Then the second option I would recommend is tap the trigger. Overall, just making it so your gun is just more stable. If you find this thing a little unwieldy and maybe finding it a little hard to hit your shots, maybe you can try tap the trigger. And then lastly, the exclusive perk that is on all these Ron weapons is Paracausal Affinity. This thing is really strong, making it so you can get a 20% increase to damage whenever you score a takedown with any source matching the elemental affinity. In this case, it is Strand. So Strand and Stasis work together. So overall, having that 20% bonus makes this thing actually crazy. It makes it into almost an LMG. It makes it have a 0.67 time to kill on anybody who is tier 5 to 10. And if for whatever reason somebody is running below tier 4, you can actually take them down in 0.58 seconds with just 8 headshots. This thing shreds and is super, super strong in closer range. The BXR 55 Battler. Now, this one you get from the Dares of Eternity, just from farming it through Xur, or like I said, just farming the endgame drops. You have a chance of red borders dropping. And this one, in my honest opinion, is kind of a sleeper pick. It being a 450 RPM pulse rifle makes it not the most competitive in terms of time to kill, being a 0.87 seconds, but realistically, that's also the time to kill of most 140s, and they still succeed. Just the consistency that it has. It being a special frame because it's, a Halo BR, it has really crazy hipfire accuracy, which makes it so it's really good at close range, and as well as the scope being super, super clean. And the perk pool does not disappoint as well on this thing, being able to roll in the first column, Killing Wind, Perpetual Motion, Snapshot, or Heating Up, whatever you really want there. And then the second column, you have things such as Eye of the Storm, Kill Clip, or Elemental Capacitor, depending on what subclass you're running. I think if you're running Arc or Void, Elemental Capacitor will be fantastic. And if you're not running those two, then Kill Clip is fantastic for quick play, or if you're just looking to get some clips. And then Eye of the Storm is fantastic as well if you're really trying to bring out the dueling potential of this gun. If you haven't given this one a try, I really recommend you do. It just feels great in the current sandbox. Like I said, not the fastest time to kill in the world, but you can definitely make up for that with the consistency of this pulse rifle. Imperial Decree. This is a kinetic high-impact shotgun firing at 55 rounds per minute. You currently get this one from when you load into the helm, and if you just walk straight, you'll be able to interact with this war table and you can focus it there. Overall, the shotgun is a fantastic pick for the kinetic slot. Overall, the shotgun has a stellar perk pool, having threat detector and slide shot in the first column. Honestly, I would pick threat detector. If you're an Ophidian Warlock or Dragon Shadow Hunter, slide shot I think is fantastic pick there. And then the second column, you're going to have opening shot. Opening shot is super strong on special weapons, just being able to get that increased range and aim assist, as well as the accuracy cones that it gives, just making the shotgun feel a lot more consistent. And you can really build out the stats on this thing to make it a really top pick for your kinetic slot. It's obviously not as good as something like Conditional. It's a great alternative if you want to use your exotic slot elsewhere. If you want to use an exotic primary weapon in your energy slot, or even an exotic heavy weapon, this weapon can definitely do the job. The Ikelos SMG was once a very top pick in the current meta. You saw it everywhere, and now you see it here and there. There are definitely some better SMGs. This one, in my honest opinion, is still top tier and is fantastic for kill chaining. The perks that it can roll are really good as well, being able to roll dynamic sway reduction as well as Killing Wind in the first column, and then in the second column you get things such as tap the trigger and rangefinder, which both are very good in their own right. I personally prefer Killing Wind and rangefinder, if I'm being honest, to really stretch out that range as much as I can. I know rangefinder doesn't necessarily increase the range anymore, but it still gives it some accuracy bonuses as well as making it feel like it has a little less stability. And overall, I actually do enjoy the increased zoom on SMGs personally, but if you are not a huge fan of rangefinder and do not see much of a use of it, definitely tap the trigger helps out a lot too, keeping your gun more stable. The origin trait is fantastic for kill chaining because it will refill 50% of the magazine upon breaking a shield of an enemy player, which is super, super good, being able to get those extra bullets back. And just overall, this thing can get some pretty crazy range, especially when you get Killing Wind procced. I love this SMG, honestly one of my favorite in the game, and I think it is one of the easiest to control in my honest opinion. The Beloved is a sniper rifle you currently get from the Presage exotic mission. I know, another one, but hey, being able to farm a bunch of the weapons on this list from doing one mission isn't too bad. Now, this sniper rifle is a top contender and one of the most used sniper rifles in all of PvP ever in Destiny 2. When this thing first released back in Season of Opulence, it took over. Everybody was so hyped. People were farming it so much. And when Bungie brought it back, it wasn't as good just due to one of its signature perks being nerfed in the past. It's still fantastic having a 40 zoom, 90 RPM, typically the preferred sniper like RPM, just because the body shot damage is good, as well as being able to do a lot of damage to headshots to supers, being able to one tap anybody who's a little bit lower resilience with them, and overall just having good base stats. Beloved has a stellar perk pool. Within the first column, you have Snapshot or Surplus, depending on the type of player you are. Personally, I prefer Snapshot just because it's easier to, maintain. And then in the second column, honestly, you have a lot of good picks here. You have things such as Quick Draw, which overall just helps, pulling out the gun quicker. With Snapshot, it makes it feel really snappy. Moving target's great to get that extra aim assist, always good on a sniper. A lot of people really like Incandescent, and I understand why. It's great because you like to see people explode, of course, when you hit the headshot, but it's also great to hold down reses as well, because the extra damage you get from it is actually kind of beneficial. And the sleeper pick here is Box Breathing. Box Breathing will actually increase the aim assist fall off distance, which is all right, that's whatever on a sniper rifle. But the big one here is it will actually increase the precision multiplier from 1.5x to 2.5x. Which makes it so your sniper does a lot of damage to the head, which typically wouldn't really matter because, you one-shot most Guardians to the head anyway. But what this really does is it makes it so it can one-shot supers. So you can take out any wells, roaming supers, doesn't matter. If you're able to hardscope for a second, you can take them out. So depending on what you're looking for, this can actually be a very, very strong pick. But overall, in my honest opinion, I would typically go with just the classic tried and true combo of Snapshot, Quick Draw, just because I really like the feel. But you really can't go wrong with any of the other picks on this thing. One of the best sniper rifles in the game, and overall just feels fantastic. Dead Man's Tale is next on the list, and this one you get from the Presage dungeon. You don't really need to worry about farming this one too much, thankfully. You just complete the dungeon, you'll get the craftable version. Overall, very, very easy to get. And Dead Man's Tale is actually soon to be getting a buff here in the new coming DLC, but it is already very, very good, especially on longer ranges. With the Catalyst, it makes it so you can hip fire, and it is way more accurate, making it so it's actually a pretty deadly scout up close. It can be a little hard to manage sometimes, but overall, it is still just a fantastic scout. Overall, very fun to use as well. And this exotic actually has random rolls. You can only get one main perk on it, but I think for this thing, you're either going to want Moving Target, Rapid Hit, and then I always think you should have a Vorpal DMT in your back pocket as well. Vorpal on this thing makes it so you can 2-tap golden guns, make it so you can run over pretty much any super in the game. So if you really like Dead Man's, I almost recommend you hold on to two of them. You have the one that you are going to be using either Moving Target or Rapid Hit on, and then when supers start coming out, you switch over to the Vorpal one. This scout rifle has taken over the Crucible many, many times, and I can see it definitely happening again once they buff it up in the new DLC. They always seem to kind of teeter this one to close to being overpowered to being good to overpowered to being good. They just kind of switch it up with every meta, it feels like. So I feel like it's very important to have a good Dead Man Tail in your back pocket for whenever it becomes super, super strong again. And last but certainly not least, Defiance of Yasmin. This is a sniper rifle you get from the King's Fall raid, and it is a 90 RPM sniper rifle. So as I said earlier, typically the preferred sniper rifle archetype for most players because it does good body shot damage as well as can headshot or almost take out a super depending on their resilience. And overall, this sniper is just fantastic. Honestly, one of my favorite in the game. It is in the kinetic slot, so you can match it with some of our top energy weapons. And the perk pool doesn't disappoint as well. In the first column, we have Snapshot, which overall is fantastic. It is the preferred perk on most people's sniper rifles, being able to increase the ADS to animation, which is overall all you're really looking for on a sniper rifle. The faster you can ADS, the faster you can fire your shot. And overall just feels really good. Because it is craftable, it will be enhanced, so you get the +5 as well to stability. And in the second column, there are some good perks here, such as, Moving Target, Vorpal, great perks. But the real winner here is definitely Opening Shot. Opening Shot makes it so you get +15 range, +13 aim assist, which is super, super strong on a special weapon. Or plus it will decrease the accuracy cones, making it so you just overall get a super consistent sniper rifle. I think any sniper that rolls Opening Shot is really, really good. But Yasmin also has just a base stat pack package that is really good, and honestly is probably one of the best sniper rifles in the game. It can also pair with some of our top energy weapons. And overall, I really recommend you go get this one if you enjoy sniping. If you are a sniper player and you have not tried Defiance of Yasmin, I really recommend it. The scope is overall really, really nice, and Yasmin is just the next level of sniper rifle. And that is it. Those are my top 10 craftable guns and the rolls that I would really recommend on them. Let me know how many of them you got and how many of them you need to go fetch. And if I missed any, please be sure to let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much and have a good rest of your day.